Are you on thyroid hormone replacement but still feel awful? Or are your thyroid levels normal yet you have classic symptoms? Do you feel like you've tried everything and don't know what to do next? Do you wonder how you can get to the true root causes of autoimmunity or functional hypothyroidism? Are you holding out for a natural way to resolve your symptoms? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Heal Your Thyroid podcast. I'm Madeleine Lowry, a neural retraining specialist and founder of Twin Cities Neural Retraining and the 12-week self-paced thyroid stress solution program. I work with clients in virtual sessions to resolve the hidden sources of stress behind chronic health issues, including thyroid function. In this episode, I'm going to talk about another factor besides trauma that creates stress at a subconscious level and how it can set us up for chronic health issues, including low thyroid function and autoimmunity. In previous episodes, we explored the impact of unresolved sources of stress and how prolonged exposure to stress leads to the cell danger response and cellular hypothyroidism, which is essentially impaired uptake of thyroid hormone at the cellular level. And this is why we can continue to have thyroid symptoms even on thyroid hormone replacement. If you're finally ready to address your thyroid issues in a new way, a mind-body way, then this podcast is for you. I'm going to connect the dots for you so that you will understand the real reasons you still have thyroid problems despite everything you've tried and what you can do about it. Could neural retraining be your best next step to thyroid healing? Take our quiz at tcneuralretraining.solutions to find out. So, I've talked about trauma experiences and the subconscious programming that can be associated with them in previous episodes. The important concept in this episode is that sensitive people are more impacted by trauma than most. By sensitive people, I mean people who are highly emotional and sensitive. These people fall into two groups. The highly sensitive person, as described by Elaine Aron, PhD, in her book, The Highly Sensitive Person, and also empaths. You can read more about empaths in Dr. Judith Orloff's book, The Empath's Survival Guide. Let's look at some key traits of highly sensitive people, or HSPs. Highly sensitive people feel their own and other people's emotions keenly. Highly sensitive people need extra time to process things, requiring more downtime and alone time. Highly sensitive people avoid overstimulating or new experiences. Criticism and judgment by others is deeply felt by highly sensitive people. Highly sensitive people tend to be very self-aware, creative, and insightful. Highly sensitive people cannot tolerate violent films and news coverage. Highly sensitive people tend to withdraw in new or tense situations to avoid overwhelm. And highly sensitive people prefer to socialize in small groups and less often than others. So let's contrast that to empaths. An empath would fit the description of a highly sensitive person, but they take it to another level. An empath is defined as someone who is highly attuned to the energies and emotions of people around them. They are not only sensitive to their own and other people's emotions, but their level of hyperempathy causes them to take on those emotions as their own. So the difference between a highly sensitive person and an empath is that the highly sensitive person is very aware of feelings, their own and other people's, while the empath will absorb or take on other people's emotions as their own, often to the detriment of their own emotional well-being. That is to say that the empath, the untrained empath, is unable to distinguish between other people's emotions they have taken on and their own. And often other people's emotions will take on a higher level of importance for them, for reasons that we will discuss a bit later. I want to mention a particular red flag concerning sensitive people, and that is the relationship between sensitive people, especially empaths, and narcissists, which can be very detrimental to the emotional, mental, and physical health of the sensitive person. Narcissists are very self-involved and have very low empathy. Sensitive people, and especially empaths, are easily drawn in and compelled to serve their needs because the narcissist's needs and emotions become their needs and emotions. The narcissist and the sensitive person can feel united on this point. It can become the basis of their relationship, though it is often damaging to the health of the empath who gives herself up to the cause. Let's talk about sensitivity in relation to trauma. Sensitive people are more deeply impacted by painful emotional events or traumas. For the sensitive person, even a very small trauma can have a big impact. And sensitive people who grew up in an unsettled or chaotic home environment, for example, if someone in the household had anger issues, mental health issues, was an alcoholic, or if there was marital strife or a general lack of safety or emotional nurturing, this can make the person with sensitive tendencies become a full-blown HSP, highly sensitive person, or an empath. Why? Because the helpless and insecure child will often develop their sensitivity in order to survey the emotions of other family members for early warning signs in an effort to protect themselves and others. And so the sensitive person is both more impacted by trauma and also more likely to lean into their sensitivity as a danger-sensing mechanism and as a way to stay safe. And how does this relate to chronic health issues? Well, in the last episode, we talked about emotionally repressive personality traits, like people-pleasing and perfectionism, and how these lead to an overload of subconscious stress. As we have discussed, an overload of subconscious stress makes us vulnerable to developing chronic health issues. Sensitive people, and I'm including both groups here, are similarly susceptible. They are easily overwhelmed by other people's negativity, sadness, frustration, or suffering, and it makes it difficult for them to distinguish their own emotions and stay in their own experience. It leads to disconnection from their own emotions and needs and inner voice, which amounts to a denial of self and a loss of authenticity, a subject that we will explore further in a future episode. But the good news is that highly sensitive people and empaths are also quite gifted with the method of advanced neural retraining that I use. Being an empath myself, I would say that it gives me an advantage in working with clients because it allows me to attune more readily to the person I am working with. Clients who are empaths or highly sensitive people are also more receptive to the method, and being more self-aware, they notice subtle shifts more readily during the process. So, to summarize, sensitive people are more prone to chronic health issues, including hypothyroidism and autoimmune conditions such as Hashimoto's, because their natural tendency toward empathy, if not checked, becomes an emotionally repressive pattern, which over time leads to a buildup of hidden stress in the subconscious mind and inhibits our natural healing capabilities. Thanks for listening. If you would like to try advanced neural retraining for yourself, I invite you to join the Heal Your Thyroid, the Mind-Body Solution community on Facebook, where opportunities to join group introductory map sessions are announced. If you like what you are hearing, please listen again and remember to subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. Your review is the best way to raise awareness of this information, and I greatly appreciate each and every review. Content of this podcast copyright 2024 by Twin Cities Neural Retraining. Music by Barbara Ben.